Now we are going to discuss about kingdom Animalia, which is one of the four kingdoms coming under domain Eukarya. When we consider the animal world, you can see that there is a huge diversity, and because of this diversity, lot of beauty is added to the natural environment. We'll start exploring the animal world. Kingdom Animalia consists of animals which are multicellular. All these animals are heterotrophic because none of the animals can produce their own food. Therefore, all are heterotrophs. Animals are divided into two main groups based on the presence or absence of a vertebral column or a backbone. Animals without a vertebral column are known as invertebrates. Animals who are having a vertebral column or a backbone are known as vertebrates. Here you can see different types of vertebrates and invertebrates. We will discuss about these invertebrate groups first. Invertebrates are divided into 5 main phyla. First, Phylum Cnidaria or Phylum Coelenterata, Phylum Annelida, Phylum Mollusca, Phylum Arthropoda, Phylum Echinodermata. These are the 5 phyla to which invertebrates are classified. First, we will consider Phylum Cnidaria or Phylum Coelenterata. As examples for Cnidarians, we can take Hydra, sea anemone, and jellyfish. Here you will learn that these Cnidarians are the invertebrate group which are known as diploblastic. Diploblastic means they have only two germinal layers or cell layers. The outermost layer is known as the ectoderm and the innermost layer is known as the endoderm. As the Cnidarians have only two germinal layers, we call them as diploblastic animals. Then you will learn about the term triploblastic. Triploblastic animal groups are annelids, mollusks, arthropods, and echinodermates. So, after Cnidarians, all the other invertebrate groups are considered as triploblastic. In triploblastic animals, there are three germinal layers. The innermost layer known as the endoderm, outermost layer known as the ectoderm, and in between these two germinal layers, there is the mesoderm. Cnidarians have two major forms known as the polyp form and the medusa form. Polyp form is attached to a substrate. It leads a sedentary life. Hydra is an example for the polyp form. Sea anemone also comes under this group. And medusa form is a free swimming state. Medusa form is a free swimming state. There, in both forms, you can see that there are tentacles. These tentacles are useful for them to gather food. Here you are shown the germinal layers as well. When we consider the symmetry of these animals, they have a radial symmetry. That means along the radius we can divide them into any number of similar halves. They have only a single opening in the body which acts as the mouth as well as the anus. If we consider the habitat of these cnidarians, they are aquatic. All of the cnidarians are aquatic. Most of them are marine. That means they live in the ocean. There are few freshwater varieties as well. When we consider the nutrition, all of them are predators. They have the ability to attack and paralyze small organisms by using nematoblasts. The coelenteron shown here acts as the digestive tract. Coelenteron acts as the digestive tract. Sometimes you may have heard that there are poisonous varieties of these jellyfish because they can release poisonous substances in order to paralyze the prey. This is the polyp form, and these are responsible for the formation of coral reefs as well. Coral polyps make coral reefs. This is jellyfish. It is the free swimming state. They can perform both asexual and sexual reproduction, but asexual reproduction is more prominent. Then we are moving on to the next phyla, that is Phylum Annelida. These are the examples: the earthworm, leech, and nereis. The important feature of this phylum is they are triploblastic, meaning that they have 3 germinal layers, as I have explained earlier. Their symmetry is bilateral. They can be divided into 2 similar halves along its axis. Therefore, they are showing bilateral symmetry. The characteristic feature of this phylum is their bodies are segmented. This segmentation can be seen both externally and internally. Therefore, they are also known as segmented worms. And this is the first phylum with a coelom. A coelom is a fluid-filled cavity between body wall and the digestive tract. This is the first phylum with a coelom, and the coelom is the fluid-filled cavity between body wall and the digestive tract. As they have a coelom, the gut wall can move independently. Here the leech has an anterior sucker as well as a posterior sucker. From the posterior sucker it gets attached to the substrate, and from the anterior sucker it is able to suck blood. Here you are shown the segmentation of an earthworm. They have a wide range of feeding habits. They show both asexual and sexual reproduction, and this clitellum is considered to be storing eggs, and the hair-like projections present along their body are known as setae. So their habitats are damp soil, marine environments as well as freshwater habitats. This nereis is also known as the ragworm. It is a marine species. There are freshwater varieties of these annelids as well as some are living in damp soil. Then we are moving on to the next phylum, that is Phylum Mollusca. Some people will call this as mollusca as well. The examples are snail, slug, bivalve, squid, chiton, and octopus. So there are terrestrial varieties, freshwater varieties as well as marine varieties. So their habitats are either terrestrial, freshwater or marine. As I told you earlier, from Phylum Annelida onwards, Phylum Mollusca, Phylum Arthropoda, Phylum Echinodermata, all these are triploblastic. They are having 3 germinal layers. Mollusks also show bilateral symmetry. They have soft bodies. They do not show any segmentation. Their body is divided into head and a muscular foot. And there is a structure known as a visceral mass, in which all the body organs are accumulated. Here this shows a detailed diagram of a snail. A section is shown there. So these are the basic parts: head, muscular foot, and the visceral mass. So you can see the organs present inside the visceral mass. Their bodies are moistened with mucus. Sometimes you may have seen the pathway of a slug or a snail appears as a shiny path because of this mucus. Some possess internal or external shells made by calcium carbonate. Mollusks are having a coelom, therefore we are calling them as coelomates. These have a variety of feeding habits, and there is a structure called radula for slugs and snails, which is like we'll say a pair of scissors by which they can cut the plant materials. Most of these animals are unisexual. Therefore, most probably they perform sexual reproduction. You can understand the gradual development of the complexity of these animal phyla. Cnidarians showed asexual reproduction mainly. Then annelids also showed both asexual and sexual reproduction, but when it comes to mollusks, they show sexual reproduction. If I tell you again, this visceral mass is a soft non-muscular metabolic region containing body organs. Non-muscular metabolic region containing body organs. Then the fourth phylum, that is Phylum Arthropoda. Remember, this phylum contains the highest number of animal species. Phylum Arthropoda contains the highest number of animal species, and majority of these species are insects. The examples like spiders, millipedes, centipedes, bees, butterflies, cricket, mosquito, scorpion, crab, prawn, barnacle. There are so many varieties. Ants, grasshoppers, flies. If we consider their habitats, they live in terrestrial, freshwater, and marine environments. They live in terrestrial, freshwater, and in marine environments. These are also triploblastic animals and they show bilateral symmetry. The characteristic feature of these is having jointed appendages or the limbs. Most suitable term is appendages. They have jointed appendages. These are the jointed appendages. Here you can see the jointed appendage. These are connected, joints are there. These are also coelomates. Their bodies are segmented. You can see the segmentation. This is a cockroach and this is a grasshopper. So you can see the segmentation in their body. The exoskeleton of these arthropods is made of chitin. Exoskeleton is made of chitin. Some of the arthropods possess wings. As they have a huge diversity, they exhibit every mode of feeding. These animals show sexual dimorphism. That means there are male animals as well as female animals. They perform sexual reproduction. If I revise the characteristic features, in Cnidarians you have to remember that they are the group or the phylum having only two germinal layers, therefore they are known as diploblastic animals. Annelids, the characteristic feature is they are the first triploblastic group, and the most important feature of annelids is having internal and external segmentation. Mollusks, they are having a muscular foot. Arthropods, the characteristic feature is having jointed appendages. Then we are moving on to the last invertebrate phylum, that is Phylum Echinodermata. The examples are brittle star, sea urchin, starfish, sea cucumber, and sea lily. All these varieties are marine. All the echinodermates are marine. These are triploblastic animals and they show, most of them show pentaradial symmetry. When it comes to Cnidarians, they showed radial symmetry. Annelida, Mollusca, Arthropoda showed bilateral symmetry. When it comes to echinodermates, they show pentaradial symmetry. Pentaradial symmetry. These are coelomates. They have a sharp, spiny body cover. Some of them are star-shaped. Some are having cylindrical bodies. And some are flower-like. They have a highly distributed water vascular system. Tube feet present along the radial arms are important for locomotion as well as for respiration. Echinodermates do not have a heart, brain, or eyes. These are known as filter feeders. That is because they can filter off the food materials from seawater. They are also substrate eaters. They can scrape a particular substrate. These are carnivorous animals. They perform sexual reproduction because they also show sexual dimorphism. This water vascular system operates tube feet. And remember, this phylum has an evolutionary relationship with phylum Chordata. Echinodermates have an evolutionary relationship with phylum Chordata. So, in this presentation, you learned about the 5 invertebrate phyla. So, once you are watching and listening to this, you can make your own note. You can summarize the facts regarding the invertebrates. In a coming video, we will learn about vertebrates. Until then, summarize the facts.